All right, we're at the halfway point in the NFL season. It's time for the midseason power rankings. I'm going to go over the top 16 teams in the NFL in my eyes right now. Welcome to Hold My Helmet. It's your host once again, Will Reichling. Like, subscribe, share. We'll also get into a quick reaction over the trade deadline. Jets trade Sauce Gardner to the Colts, Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys, Seahawks trade for Rashid Shaheed. Like, subscribe, share again, and let's start. Usually I go in chronological order. I go 1 to 16. I'm going to go reverse this time. I'm going to go 16 to 1. So I'm going to start with number 16, work my way up to number 1. So let's start. The number 16 team in the NFL in my eyes. I'm going to put the Chicago Bears here. Great win against the Cincinnati Bengals. No doubt about that. Not taking anything away from them. Caleb came through and made big plays all game long. You should be excited about that win if you're a Chicago Bears fan with the way the offense played. I hate to be that guy. I really do. But the Bengals defense is absolutely atrocious. Caleb's two best games this season, were against the Bengals and the Cowboys. Bengals have allowed the second most pass yards per game this season. Cowboys have allowed the third most pass yards per game this season. Oh, and guess who has allowed the most and second most total yards per game this season? The Bengals and the Cowboys. Guess who has allowed the most and second most points per game this season? Bengals and the Cowboys. Guess who is the two worst third down defenses in the league this season? Bengals and Cowboys. I can tell you who was the worst and who was the second worst, but it doesn't really matter at that point. Those are the two worst defenses in the league by far. So Caleb Williams, 7 touchdowns, no picks in those 2 games against the Bengals and the Cowboys. 5 touchdowns, 4 picks in the other 6 games this season. Yes, you play the teams on your schedule. This is still the NFL. These are all professionals. Each win is a well-deserved win. Each team is a hard out. Sunday was impressive. Big step for Caleb. Let's see him do it against good defenses now. Let's see him do it against those elite defenses now. Let's see him take that next step and carry it over week to week. Best turnover differential in the league right now. Most takeaways. Ben Johnson's really fine-tuned that offense. They know what they are. They like to run the ball. Now they're making big explosive plays with Caleb. They're a top half team in the league right now. I still want to see more consistency out of that offense, but no doubt Bears have had a very positive season so far. I just want to see Caleb do it against the better teams. I was deciding between the Bears and the Carolina Panthers for 15. I'm going to put the Carolina Panthers at 15. I know people might freak out. How do you not have the Bears over the Panthers? I think it's very close. But I think the Carolina Panthers deserve to be here. They're that one team that you don't think is that good. And next thing you know, you look up and they're winning. Top 5 rush yards per game. Bryce Young hasn't been great this season. He's had his moments. Carolina's been feisty. I'm going to keep them in 15, 5-4. Number 14. The San Francisco 49ers. The fact that they're even in the top 14 with all the injuries they have is insane. If they make the playoffs, I think Kyle Shanahan should be a Coach of the Year candidate. And I'm not kidding. They have another big injury now. Lost Michael Williams for the year, torn ACL. Their defense is decimated, but they do have the easiest schedule moving forward. Mac Jones has played competent. Christian McCaffrey's having a bounce-back season. You got Jawan Jennings back. Hopefully you get Pearsall back. I do think this team can make the playoffs. I think the way Kyle Shanahan's coaching Mac Jones right now and the way this team is outperforming themselves, Robert Sala's done a great job with that defense. I think this team has a very good chance to make the playoffs if they play the course right now because they have the easiest schedule remaining. So I know it's the NFL, injuries all over the place. The Niners have it worse by far. The Niners have the most injuries in the league by far right now. So what Kyle Shanahan is doing with all those injuries and with a backup quarterback that people thought was a laughingstock a couple seasons ago. Mac Jones was a laughingstock. People laughed at him. And turning him into a competent starting quarterback. I mean, Kyle Shanahan deserves all the praise in the world. Number 13, I'm going to put the Los Angeles Chargers here. They've been the best offense on third down. Top 5 in yards per game. Herbert has been constantly getting pressured, but he still delivers. I don't really have any strong opinions on this team in the positive or in the negative aspect. They're solid, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. But who knows? Anything with Jim Harbaugh is possible. But they've had a lot of injuries too. It's the NFL. Welcome to the NFL. Every team's hurt. Number 12, I'm going to put the Denver Broncos here. I feel like this team is a little bit of fool's gold. Yes, their defense is elite. You know, they're one of the top teams in yards allowed, points allowed. They've been great defensively. But the offense is just so inconsistent. Yes, the Texans have the best defense in the league. But we have now seen multiple games of Bo Nix being up and down throughout the game. Yes, he's had great fourth quarters, but I would like to see him reel it in and have a great first, second, and third quarter as well. They have the second most penalties in the league offensively. They just don't feel organized offensively to me. It's going to come down to Bo Nix in that offense in the playoffs. But I really feel like this team is a first-round exit to me. They have all the talent in the world on offense and on defense, but the offense is just so up and down that I don't trust them right now. So I have them at 12. Number 11, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The defense was great in that Colts game. It was outstanding. 6 turnovers, great game. But Aaron Rodgers has been the main story of the season. Aaron Rodgers has played extremely well, and he's moved fairly well for a 41-year-old so far this season. This is the best the offense has looked since the big primetime Big Ben years. They have some weapons, and they have some big weapons. DK Metcalf, big. Darnell Washington, big. Freiermuth. And Rodgers is getting them the ball. If the defense could just be more consistent, a little more consistent, they might have a chance to be a hard out in the playoffs. So the defense has had one great game, then a terrible game, then a great game, then a terrible game. They need to be more consistent. But hopefully this defense can continue that momentum into the next game and the games after that. They have the second best turnover differential. They have the second most takeaways. So Rodgers isn't turning the ball over, and the defense is getting takeaways. So that's the positive there. They're very competent offensively. I feel like this is the most polished they've been on offense in years. Number 10, the Green Bay Packers. I had them higher before I saw them lose to the Carolina Panthers, they are a feisty team, the Panthers. Don't get me wrong, but this offense and this defense is so up and down. I feel like when the offense is playing great, the defense underperforms. When the defense is playing great, the offense underperforms. Nothing is clicking at the same time. I love their team, love their quarterback, love their head coach, but they're just a weird team sometimes. They have weird losses, lost to the Browns, lost to the Panthers, weird tie with the Cowboys where the defense just sold. So I love them on paper, but they have to produce in these games. And maybe they turn it up in the playoffs. I don't know, but they just feel like a team that might lose to an inferior team in the playoffs. They just have that feel to me. Anything could happen in a one-game series. So, love their team, love their roster, but I just need to see both the offense and defense have a complete game. You've seen it a couple of times this season. The Lions game a couple of weeks ago, forgot who they played, but they played a very, very strong game a couple of weeks ago. They just need to put it together week after week because they have all the talent in the world. Number 9, the Tampa Bay Bucks. I love Baker Mayfield. I love his guts and his play this season, but they just have too many injuries, and I think it's going to start catching up to them. They have the Patriots, the Bills, then the Rams. You better hope you don't go 0-3 in that stretch because you very well could. With that being said, still a playoff team, still going to win the NFC South. Still might even win a playoff game. They need to start getting some of these guys back. They already started to, but losing Godwin again, losing Mike Evans for now the majority of the season, it's just getting tough. Bucky Irvin's been out the last couple of weeks. At some point, it's going to catch up to you. Now you're playing 3 of the top teams in the league coming up. I could see this unraveling kind of quickly, but they're still in my top 10. Number 8, the Seattle Seahawks. All I have to say is Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold. Top 5 offense in points per game, top 5 defense in points per game allowed. JSN looks like he'd be the best receiver in the league right now. I mean, he's been absolutely insane. I mean, enough is said about that. I don't really have to go on more about that. Just traded for Rashid Shaheed, by the way. Very high on Seattle, and people laughed at me when I said they were going to be 12-5 heading into the season. Turns out that might actually be a very realistic record when it's all said and done this season. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. I know you guys are going to go crazy. You're going to be like, why do you have the Bills so low? Why do you have the Bills lower than the Chiefs? We've seen this story before. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. We think the Bills have finally arrived. They're finally the favorite to go to the Super Bowl and win the AFC. Then the Chiefs beat them in the playoffs, whether it's the divisional round or the AFC Championship game. I've seen this story over and over and over again. Bills win the regular season, Chiefs win the playoffs. I think it's going to be more of the same this season. Their offense has been fine. They lead the league in yards per game. The offense has actually been pretty great. The defense has improved. They've allowed the second least pass yards per game in the league. With Maxwell Harrison, that draft pick, they're looking like a player. So, they've improved, but I don't know. I still think the Chiefs are going to beat them in the playoffs. And I might not have any analytics or data to back that up. It's just a gut feel. I've seen it over and over again, and until I'm proving wrong on that, the Chiefs are the better team, whether they win or lose to the Bills in the regular season. That doesn't change how I think the playoffs are going to go. So, also, the 6 teams above them, it was just so hard to put the Bills above the other 6 teams. I'll get into that in a little bit, but I actually feel like there's no elite top team, but there's a lot of really good teams, and that's why, unfortunately, the Bills have fell to 7. Number 6, New England Patriots. Drake May has been unbelievable, and he's definitely the real deal. I think now 8 games in a row with a passer rating over 100, and he didn't even necessarily play a great game last week, and he still had over 100 passer rating. He's the real deal, and they have the best run defense in the league right now, allowed the least rush yards per game this season in the league. So Mike Vrabel turning around the defense, Drake May turning around the offense. So you have, if you're the Patriots, lots of excitement. You already beat the Bills, so you have the tiebreaker over them. You have to play them one more time, but your schedule's been so easy. But like I said about the Chicago Bears, you play the schedule you have in front of you, and they've been not only beating these teams, but blowing most of these teams out. I know this one was more of a close game, but the Patriots have really been over-exceeding all expectations this season, even with an easy schedule. I thought they were going to be like an 8-9 team. They might actually win 12, 13 games the way this is going. Number 5, the Detroit Lions. That was a tough loss to the Vikings. There's no doubt about it. But divisional games can get really weird sometimes. I'm still extremely high on the Detroit Lions. They have too many good players on offense not to bounce back. And they have a lot of high-end playmakers on that defense. A lot of them have been hurt, coming back now. But the Lions are still, in my eyes, going to be an NFC Championship caliber team. So it's the NFL. You have some weird divisional games sometimes. Sometimes you're going to lose games you should win in the regular season. It happens all the time. It happens every week. So I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon for the Lions just yet. I need to see them lose consistently like that, because I think, watch this week, they're going to put up 50. They're going to bounce back right away. That's usually how the Lions work. Whenever they get disappointed and they disappoint and they underperform, the next week they dominate. So actually curious who they're playing now, because that might be a bloodbath unless they're playing like, the Chiefs, who they already lost to. But I'm still high on them. That's all I'm going to say. Not gonna freak out about that. Divisional game could get weird. It happens sometimes. Number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Already went into why I think they're the better team than the Bills. I think they're hitting their stride. Again, wouldn't take anything too much away from this loss. Mahomes kind of had a little bit of a weird game, but top 6 in yards per game offensively, top 7 in yards per game allowed defensively, top 10 offense, top 10 defense, 2 of the best coordinators in the league, Andy Reid, Spagnuolo, best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. They're going to be just fine. Going to be the AFC Championship game again for, I think, the 8th straight season. And then when they go and they play the Ravens or the Bills or the Colts, they're going to beat them again. I mean, we've seen the story over and over again. The only reason I don't have them higher is because my next team, number 3 team, the Indianapolis Colts, I'm not going to drop them over one tough loss to a solid team in the Steelers. I do think this is sustainable for the Colts. They have so many good players in the offense. And I think the game against the Steelers was an outlier, not the standard. They still lead the league in points per game. They're going to be hard out in the playoffs. They might not win the AFC or the Super Bowl, but I think they can give the Bills or Chiefs a run for their money. Doesn't mean they're going to beat the Chiefs. Doesn't mean they're going to beat the Bills, but I think they can keep up with those teams. Now, they just trade 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. I'm a Jets fan. I've watched Sauce Gardner for the last 4 seasons, 3.5 seasons. He was 2-time first-team All-Pro in the first 2 seasons. You can't ask more for a rookie and second-year corner than to do that. But then last year, regressed mightily. They started finally calling those pass interference calls on him. It hurt him. It did hurt him. And he's been better this year, but he hasn't been that elite corner that he was those first 2 seasons. I feel like, in my opinion, he's regressed. I think that even giving up 1 first-round pick for him would have been a little questionable for the Colts. The fact that you give up 2 and A.D. Mitchell, I mean, they must really think that Sauce Gardner is going to be the missing piece that puts them over the top. I don't think so, but they have to be thinking that right now. They have to be thinking that this guy's going to come in, and with Lou Anarumo, maybe it's a better scheme fit versus the Jets and Aaron Glenn. Maybe he can get back to what he was with those solid defenses. Maybe that's what the Colts are thinking. Okay, he's not in the right scheme, not in the right fit. We can make him right. But for 2 first-round picks, do you want to have a risk like that where it's like, we can make him right? You want to bring in a bona fide, guaranteed star. And Sauce Gardner was a star. He hasn't been a star the last 2 seasons. He really hasn't. So it's a bit of a risk. But hey, I respect the Colts for going all in. I respect the Colts for thinking this might be the piece that puts them over the top. I don't agree with it, but I do think this team can be competitive in the playoffs. You're going to have tough losses in the NFL. A lot of these teams I have in the top 10 had some tough losses this week. The Packers, the Chiefs, the Colts now, the Lions. A lot of these top teams lost this week. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're not top teams. It happens. It's 1 game. It's not a 7-game series in the playoffs. It's 1 game. Anything could happen, but usually the better teams prevail when it matters most. I think the Colts are a solid team. I think they're more than solid. Maybe this year you win a playoff game or get to the playoffs, and next year is the next step, because you have Sauce Gardner under contract control now. So Yeah, Colts at 3. I'm not going to drop them over a tough loss, but I also think the Sauce Gardner trade was a little questionable, giving up 2 first-round picks for him. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. They could just beat you in so many different ways. Running the ball with Barkley, throwing the ball over the top to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They add Michael Carter from the Jets. And like I said, I'm a Jets fan. Michael Carter is a very underrated nickel cornerback. He's actually been sneaky good for years on the Jets, and he's been an underrated player. They got him in the 5th round, immediately was a starter, and he's been, honestly, as a nickel corner, he's been a little bit worse this season, but he's been very, very solid. If you look at his PFF grades, they've been some of the top grades in the league for a slot corner. So you actually got pretty good value getting Michael Carter. Now you can move Cooper DeJean to the outside. They also trade for Jair Alexander, who I think might be a bit washed at this point, but hey, he could usually get a big pick here and there, so that might be beneficial too. They trade for Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher from the Dolphins, so they're stacking up that defense. They know the defense is partially an issue, and they're looking to address it. This is why Howie Roseman's the best GM in the NFL. They can just beat you in so many different ways. You want to win ugly, you want to win passing the ball, you want to win with defense and turnovers. This team can just beat you so many different ways. Now, adding to that defense, I mean, the sky is really the limit for this team. The only thing holding the Eagles back is themselves. And the number 1 team in the NFL, in my eyes, I'm going to put the Los Angeles Rams here. 2nd in pass yards per game. Stafford's just on a roll. Matt Stafford's on a complete roll. He's quietly putting up an extremely strong case for MVP. 21 touchdowns, 2 picks, 113 passer rating, 16 touchdowns and no picks since week 4. He's on a heater. Puka Nakua's finally healthy. Devontae Adams has been an excellent fit. This team's rolling. This is the team to beat in the NFC. I know the Eagles beat them, but they pretty much got away winning that game by a hair. The Rams almost kicked the game-winning field goal, and yes, it was blocked return for a touchdown. Great play by the Eagles, but the Rams were right in that game. They almost beat them in the playoffs too, though they had a sack. So I think the Rams are overdue to beat the Eagles. And the defense has also been excellent. 2nd least points per game allowed in the league. 2nd best 3rd down defense in the league. Elite offense and clearly a top 10 defense. And they're also the least penalized offense in the league. They just know what they're doing offensively, and they know what they're doing defensively. They're just so in tune with each other. Veteran team. They got a young defense though, but veteran offense that just knows how to play the game. Stafford and Adams already look like they have elite chemistry. So, Los Angeles Rams, I said they were going to go 14-3 before the season, be the 1 seed. Everyone laughed at me like I was crazy. Then issues came out about Stafford's back. Is it going to be bothering him all season? And I got a little bit concerned about that. Now it's looking like my prediction might be right. Maybe not 14-3, but they're a 12-win team minimum. Minimum 12-win team. And the Rams, to me, are the best team in the league right now. So let me go through that one more time. Start at the bottom. Number 16, Chicago Bears. 15, Panthers. 14, 49ers. 13, Chargers. 12, Broncos. 11, Steelers. 10, Packers. 9, Bucks. 8, Seahawks. 7, Bills. 6, Patriots. 5, Lions. 4, Chiefs. 3, Colts. 2, Eagles. And number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. So that's the midseason power rankings. Comment if you agree. Comment if you have any disagreements with that. Just leave a comment. I know you guys like to shit on me a lot anyway. I don't pay no mind to it, though. Let's get into the trade deadline reaction. So the Jets trading Sauce Gardner to the Colts and getting 2 first-round picks, a pick in 2026, a first-round pick in 2027, and A.D. Mitchell. Then they trade Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys for a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick. So now they have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in 2026 and 3 first-round picks in 2027. I'm all in on this. Sauce Gardner, yes, I talked about this already. He was a first-team All-Pro his first 2 seasons. He was elite, but he's fallen off a cliff. He really has. So the Colts are taking a big risk there, and the Jets, they're not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. You have these players on defense. Your defense still kind of sucks. So you trade Sauce Gardner, who's been underperforming. Quinnen Williams has 1 sack this season. Yes, he creates a lot of pressure. He gains a lot of attention. But at some point, if you're a pass-rushing defensive tackle, you have to get sacks. Like, it's simple. He has 1 double-digit sack season. So you trade him for a first and a second. You trade Sauce Gardner for 2 firsts. If you want to rebuild, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. Now they have to hit in their draft picks. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that because they're the Jets, but this is the right direction to go in. These players, you were not winning with these players, and these players already look like they're starting to hit their decline. So this was an absolutely excellent move by the New York Jets. I couldn't have agreed with this more. And I have Jets fans that are upset about it because, you draft a player, you feel some sentimental value for that player. This GM and this head coach did not draft these players, so they don't give a shit. They do not give a shit. And I tend to agree with them. I'm a Jets fan, but I'm a little bit more partial I'm a little bit more objective about it. And immediately when I heard they traded Sauce Gardner, I'm like, okay, what did they give up? A first-round pick, the Colts, maybe a second. 2 first-round picks? 2 first-round picks for a corner that might have seen his best days? And I could be wrong. He can get to the Colts, have a great fit with Lou Anarumo. I could be completely wrong. But as it stands right now, they overtraded for Sauce Gardner. The Cowboys, I like that trade a little bit better than what the Colts made. But, the main problem at the Dallas Cowboys is their secondary, but you can't really trade for good corners at the deadline. So what do? They add Quinnen Williams, which will not only be a help for this season, but next season and the years to come as well. So Quinnen Williams is a very strong player, but again, 1 sack. Maybe that changes in Dallas, but you got a first-round pick and a second-round pick from the Cowboys for a player who had 1 sack this season. I know he has a lot of pressures, but you always talk about pressures. Produce on those pressures. That's what I want. He has 1 double-digit sack season. 1 double-digit sack season. So he's a great player, but he's not a superstar. And you give up a first and a second for him. I guess defensive tackles are very valuable nowadays. But 2 players that clearly hit their peak, it seems like. And you got 3 first and a second for 2 players that have not contributed to winning for you guys. Today's a big win for the New York Jets.